I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Stay tuned. Peace, and welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast Show. And I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. How y'all doing today? I see why people have production crews. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as I get a couple M's up, I might have to give me a production crew. I mean, yeah. If you're going to get a couple M's up, you get a couple M's up. You know what? Well, I say so. How y'all doing today? Welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast. Again, this is the Cultural Variety Podcast Show. Yes. Thank you for your applause. This is the Cultural Variety Podcast Show, of course, and this is our Monday night cultural studies night. That's what we typically have on Sunday and Monday alternate nights. But tonight, we definitely going to keep it culture. We definitely going to give you that flavor. But most importantly, tonight, we are celebrating, that's right, All-Star Weekend, Major League Baseball. So that's what we're going to celebrate tonight. And how other than by giving you a nice lineup of the Negro League's All-Star Game. How about that? With a nice story behind it. Well, you know how we do. This is Coffee Talk Podcast. You know what I'm saying? This is where on Monday nights, Sunday nights, Monday nights, you can go and you can get you some culture, get you some flavor. Know about poets, doctors, scholars, lawyers, our people, our ancestors. So that's what we do here on Sunday and Monday nights. Tonight is Monday, so let me stop going back saying Sunday. But y'all get the picture, right? No doubt. Hey, drum man. All right, so check it. Yeah, we are celebrating Major League Baseball All-Star, because it is All-Star break weekend currently. And we also are celebrating all the youngsters, man. That's right, the youngsters that play in the little leagues, man. All of the baseball season is at its tail end. Some of the seasons just ended. Like my son, he's a 9-year-old. He plays in the little league. So you know what I thought? Hey, we're going to go ahead, celebrate All-Star Major League Baseball weekend with a little bit of history. And then we also going to give props and honors to the young people that is finishing up with their little league seasons, no doubt. So other than that, man, let me know how y'all doing today. Let me know. Go ahead and chime on in. I'd like to get some water. Chime on in. You know how we do on Coffee Talk Podcast. All right, listen. On a scale of 1 through 10, with 10 being just an excellent day, where are you at right now? To my supporters, my viewers that support the show and watch the show, where are you at on a scale of 1 through 10? Are you having an excellent day? 8 through 9, are you having a great day? 5 through 7, are you having an okay day? Fourth, are you having a better day, but it could be better? Does that make sense? A better day, but it could be better. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're a 3 and below, all I want to say is, you know, we're here for you here at Coffee Talk Podcast. It's the shoulder that you can lean on. It's the ear that'll listen. You know what I'm saying? All right, back to the show. All-Star Weekend. Yes, it is. It's the 93rd annual Major League Baseball All-Star Game this weekend, actually tomorrow. It's July 11th, 2023. It's from the Seattle Mariners home park, That's T-Mobile Park. You see, I got Safeco Field in the background. That's the old stadium, no doubt. Back when they had A-Rod and Ken Griffey Jr. in them. You know what it is. But again, All-Star Game is July 11th, 2023. We held at T-Mobile Park, and that's in Seattle, Washington. No doubt. The managers of each ball club, American League manager is Dusty Baker, one of ours, man. One of the greatest managers in Major League Baseball history. You know what I mean? Got the championship in each conference, American League and National League. Dusty Baker, reigning champion, by the way, who's currently managing of the Houston Astros. He's going to be the manager of the American League team for tomorrow's All-Star Game, and followed by National League manager Rob Thornton, who also was a runner-up last year in the championship. So Rob Thornton for the Philadelphia Phillies. Those are your managers this All-Star weekend. Make sure that you get to watch the celebrity softball game. You know what I'm saying, like that. Make sure you just participate. It's always fun. Hey, baseball is an American pastime. But when I say baseball, it includes everybody. You know what I'm saying? And so we want to encourage more children from Coffee Talk Podcast and myself. We want to encourage more children to not only just try out for baseball in Little League, but also more of our people, whether you want to say Black, African American, whatever. You know what we are. You know what I'm saying? But we want to encourage our kids to get into baseball as well. You know, we need to see that more. Baseball is not somebody else's sport. You know what I'm saying? Like some people try to control the narrative, or maybe our imaginations just think that. But it's most important that we learn the American pastime of baseball. It's a great sport. It teaches you about patience. You know what I'm saying? It teaches you camaraderie. It teaches you teamwork. You know, it teaches you strategy. You know what I'm saying? So we're giving our props and our honors to not only Major League Baseball All-Star Weekend, but again, to the children as well, as they just finished up their Little League baseball conferences. All right. Now, before we go into the show, we got a good show for tonight. But if this is your first time tuning into the show, we never start a show, man. We never start a show without giving you its flavor. We never start a show without giving you the wise words. How could we? It wouldn't be right. That's like bland coffee. You know what I'm saying? Got to put some cream in there or some whatever in your lattes or your coffee or your smoothie or whatever you do. But you got to mix it with something, right? So that's what we got to do. So anyway, today's flavor is no other than, let me get my drum roll on first. Hey, y'all, what you laughing at? It was better than this one. Or how about this one? You feel me? All right, so I got my drum roll on. You know it's got, you know what it is. All right, so today's flavor, because it's been 90 degrees here in the Twin Cities, where I'm from, y'all, wherever you watch it from. But here in the Twin Cities, it's been 90 degrees. We've been getting a lot of 90 degrees. You know what I'm saying? And the beautiful thing about it, though, is there's no humidity right now. You know, some true Minnesotans are probably saying, shh, 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 because they know that we a state that has humidity. You know, y'all talk about us in the winter, talking about how cold it is, man. You come here when the humidity's blasting, shit. That's a different hot than just dry heat. You know what I'm saying? For real. But because it's been 90 degrees or more, today's flavor is some water, man. Just some water, yo. Hydrate yourself. You know what I'm saying? You out there with blunt breath and shit. You've been talking and gossiping and doing all that crazy shit, spitting and everything. I know your mouth dry. Your mouth is dry, Sonny. So because of the flavor and how we get it to you, the Coffee Talk Podcast, we want to say that today's flavor, some water, man. Hydrate yourself, baby. No doubt, no doubt. Well, you know, I had to get my drink in. Hey, that's a little dehydrated. All right, and now the wise words for tonight comes from a young lady, a Puerto Rican queen, a legend, a hip hop queen, no doubt. One of the hip hop queens. When I first saw this woman, I saw her on the comedy show with the Wayne brothers. She was a dancer. Forgive me if I forgot the name of the show, but that's not important. Y'all know what I'm talking about. She was a dancer on the show, on the Wayne show. Living Color. Sorry. She went on to be an actress. Great actress. One of her best films was Selena. She also was on the block. She was outside. She's Jenny from the block. She was in the club with Puff. And the allegations went down. Yeah. Anyways, tonight's wise words is from no other than Jennifer Lopez. And Jennifer Lopez wise words is this. Jennifer Lopez states, doubt is a killer. You just have to know who you are and what you stand for. I'm going to say it again. Tonight's wise words by Jennifer Lopez is doubt is a killer. You just have to know who you are and what you stand for. So tonight's homework assignment is, what do you stand for? Go ahead and drop that in the comments. And while you're there, hit the like button. You know you love the show. We love you back. And also, call your friends up. Tell them that Coffee Talk Podcast. Tell them Cyber's on. That's right. Tell them something. Tell them the Cultural Variety Podcast show's on. And you can catch us on YouTube and Facebook Live. That's what you tell them, right? All right. So that's what it is. All right. So let's go ahead and get into our story now. We're celebrating an All-Star weekend on this episode of the Coffee Talk Podcast, Cultural Variety Podcast show. And you already know who it is. No doubt. All right. So tonight we're going to be reading a small, quick chapter. But the book is entitled Black Diamond. That's right, Black Diamond. It's a story of the Negro Leagues baseball, and its authors are Patricia McKissick and Fredrick McKissick Jr. This is what the book looks like. If you can see it, you probably can't because my green screen is probably blocking it out. But you know what it is. Again, the book is called Black Diamond, the story of Negro League baseball. And if you see my man up there, you know what I mean? You see my man up there in the right corner, you know who that is. That's Satchel Paige, one of my favorite pitchers. Represent with me tonight, All-Star Weekend, Coffee Talk Podcast style. And who brings you the flavor? We do. All right, so you know how we do it. Go get the youngsters, go get the elders, go get the people that enjoy listening to a nice story. Let's begin. It's called The Lineup. Some of the most exciting baseball was played during the 1920s by Black players who put in the performances that were second to none. Some of them played college-trained athletes. Others honed their skills playing for military teams or in foreign leagues. And more than a few learned how to throw, hit, run in the ghetto alleys or reform schools. Although they came from different social and economic backgrounds, they didn't let that stop them from playing together. Celebrities and political leaders flocked to see the baseball heroes of the day. Charlie Bayard of the New York Black Yankees remembered. Everybody got dressed to the nines to go to the ball game, not like today when people dress like they're going to rake leaves. Memorable players from the 1920s gave fans their quarters worth, from New York to Chicago and from Kansas City to Birmingham. The pitchers in the 1920s were showmen as well as athletes, and the fans loved to watch them deliver balls that zinged and zipped and dipped and curved. Walter Johnson and Smokey Joe Williams had fastballs that had impressive records until Richard Cannonball Dick Redding came along. He was known for his hesitation pitch and fastball. Rumor was that Cannonball had helped Hall of Fame slugger Lou Gehrig hit fastballs. Gehrig, of course, went to the New York Yankees and made baseball history. John Donaldson had a sharp breaking curveball that moved with the speed of a fastball. Counted among the best to stand on the mound in the Negro Leagues, Donaldson began his career in professional baseball in 1912 with the Tennessee Rats, a barnstorming team that entertained as well as competed on the diamond. While pitching for J.L. Wilkerson's All-Nations team just before World War I, Donaldson hurled 3 consecutive no-hitters. Wilkerson, who also owned the Kansas City Monarchs, said Cannonball Donaldson was the most amazing pitcher he had ever seen. During the early 1920s, when Donaldson was at his peak, he hurled for teams in the National Negro League and the Eastern Colored League. There was a story circulating that a minor league coach had offered Donaldson $10,000 to move to Cuba, change his name, and then return some months later as a Cuban. That way, the coach could sign Donaldson without a problem. But Donaldson, no doubt, remembered the incident involving Charlie Grant. Most major league owners and managers didn't care about what color the player was, just as long as he could help the team win. But white players and fans did care. To get around the lockout of blacks, some managers devised schemes that resembled a carnival sideshow. John J. McGraw was the manager of the Baltimore Orioles. During the 1901 spring training session, McGraw saw Charlie Grant play an exhibition game. McGraw wanted to sign him badly, but how could he get around the color barrier? He decided to pass Grant off as Native American, a Cherokee, whose name was Tokahama, the name of a river that McGraw had found on the map. Grant was willing to do anything to get a chance to play in the majors. So he went along with the deception by dressing up in a stereotypical native costume and painting his face. The whole disguise was an insult to the Cherokee Nation, for it wasn't remotely authentic. For a while, the sham worked, but a few white players recognized Grant, even with the disguise. And though McGraw and Grant protested loudly that he was a full-blooded Indian, the ruse was uncovered. Grant, known forever after as Chief, never played a regular season major league game. He returned to the Columbia Grants in the National Negro League, where he played until his death in 1932. That was your boy Charlie Grant. Y'all look him up. Look him up. Check out the images of my dude. They said he was Cherokee, y'all. Do the math. Cannonball Donaldson decided the offer to play in the majors came at too high a price. He sent a message that he was willing to become a Cuban just to play in the majors. If they couldn't sign him as an African American, then he wasn't interested. Oddly enough, Jose Joe Mendez actually was a Cuban, but he had dark skin, so he was looked out of the majors too. Mendez pitched for the Foster American Giants, the Detroit Stars, and the Kansas City Monarchs. He died in Havana in 1928. Another star hurler was Wilbur Bullet Rogan. They called him Bullet because he could zip the ball past a batter at bullet speed. Between 1911 and 1919, Rogan served several hitches in the military. For a while, he played baseball for the 25th Infantry, stationed in Hawaii, and the Los Angeles White Sox while he was a civilian. During the 1920s, the big 6-footer came back to the Midwest and pitched for the Kansas City Monarchs, averaging about 30 games a year. During the 1920s, there were more ball players. There were clubs to support them. But there was also need for strong catchers. George Chappie Johnson called for the Chicago Giants and the St. Louis Giants of the National Negro League and the Philadelphia Royal Stars in the Eastern Colored League. Chappie Johnson took the initiative and organized several baseball teams in upstate New York, and in 1928, he came to New York and organized the Chappie Johnson All-Stars and brainstormed in Montreal. Frank Pete Duncan Jr., a native of Kansas City, spent most of his career catching for the Kansas City Monarchs. He joined them in 1922 and stayed on until the 1940s. One of the highest paid players in the Eastern Colored League was said to be Louis Top Sandtop Lofton. As a catcher for the Hilldale Club, a strong hitter, he repeatedly made $500 a month, a fabulous salary back in the 1920s, considering bacon and eggs cost 20 cents in a restaurant. Benjamin Ben Taylor, George Mew Sutters, and Newitt Allen made their reputations playing the bases and swatting balls out of the ballpark. Shortstop John Beckwith of the Chicago Giants, at the age of 19, smacked the ball over the left field fence at Redland Field in Cincinnati. He was the first to do it, white or black. During his best years, 1927 to 1928, Beckwith hit a total of 126 home runs. Another powerful bat was shortstop Richard Dick Laundy, a switch hitter who held a steady 300 average throughout his career. Right behind Lundy was shortstop Willie Wells, whose career began in 1923 with the San Antonio semi-pro team. They called him the Devil because his bat was red hot. The following year, he was in St. Louis when the Giants, then on to the Stars, Wells, too, maintained a 300 or better batting average. Infielder William Judy Johnson was the Hilldale team in the 1920s. Did y'all hear that name? Did y'all just hear that name? His name is William Julius Judy Johnson. He was from the Hilldale team of the 1920s. During the first NEGRO World Series in 1924, Johnson led Hilldale's hitters with a .341 batting average through the series. David Malarcher was a hard-hitting, intelligent infielder known as Gentleman Dave because of his gentle Southern style. Malarcher played third base for the Chicago American Giants. He may have been a gentle, but he was a fierce competitor who followed Rube Foster as the manager of the American Giants, a team that dominated the National Negro Leagues in the early 1920s. Several excellent outfielders during the 1920s were Spotswood Spots Polis, James Jimmy Lyons, and Cheney White. Sports heroes are usually presented larger than life, but Caribbean star Martin DeHagu and Oscar Charleston and James Thomas Cool Papa Bell were legends even then. It was said that Oscar Charleston was fast enough to stand behind second base and outrun the longest line drive, powerful enough to loosen the ball's cover with one hand, fearless enough to snatch the hood off a Ku Klux Klansman. Charleston, born in 1896, learned how to be tough growing up in the rough neighborhood of Indianapolis. He and his brothers fought their way to and from school. His brother became a professional boxer, and Oscar, at age 15, joined the Army. While serving in the all-black 24th Infantry Regiment in the Philippines, he became a star player on the regimental baseball and track teams. After he was discharged, Charleston returned to Indianapolis and signed with the ABCs. He was an ideal player who could play several positions well, but he had the speed and agility needed to be a formidable outfielder. At the bat, he had the strength to slam balls out of the park and the speed to turn a single into a double. In 1924, Charleston was one of the players who left the ABCs for greener pastures with the Hilldale Club of the Eastern Colored League. His absence was sorely felt by the ABCs because Charleston was, without exception, one of the finest all-around players in baseball. He was often compared to the legendary Ty Cobb, the first person elected to the Hall of Fame in style and personality. Both were fierce competitors whose tempers sometimes got them into trouble on and off the field. Bobby White, a former teammate of Charleston's, explained, Charleston was all business, the business of baseball, and this made him seem short-tempered and mean. White remembered him as a warm, friendly man who liked to kid around. Although there were people who differed with White's assessment of Charleston, most of his teammates liked and respected him, and his fans adored him. The Pittsburgh Carrier wrote, scores of school kids turned out regularly just to see Oscar perform. He was to them what Babe Ruth is to kids of a lighter hue. Wow, y'all, did you hear that? So even back then, the kids was choosing the lighter hue because Babe Ruth, oh, did I say, my bad, Oscar performed, he was to them what Babe Ruth is to the kids of a lighter hue. Okay, so it's the same as the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson thing, you know. The white kids love Babe Ruth, or some kids love Babe Ruth because he was light. And then other kids that saw themselves in Oscar, liked Oscar, because Oscar not only was a great player, but he reflected their image. He looked like them. You know, he was them. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue as the story gets ready to end. And thank you for staying with us here, you know, on Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast show. James Thomas Cool Papa Bell played well into the 1940s, but was in peak form during the 1920s. Satchel Paige said Bell could pull the light switch and run across the room, hop in bed, and cover up before the light went out. Some historians say Bell was the fastest runner who ever stole a base, including Ty Cobb. Since there are no records to support that the assertion, the best that can be said is Bell was one of the fastest runners in the 1920s. One of Cool Papa's former teammates said, when Bell hit a ball back to the pitcher, the fans would yell, hurry! And Judy Johnson told a reporter that when Bell was at bat with no one on base, the infielders moved in as if a man were on third with one out. You couldn't play back in your regular position, or you never throw him out. Bell left Mississippi in the 1920s at the age of 17. His first stop was St. Louis, where he, along with four of his brothers, played for an amateur team called the Compton Hill Cubs. By 1922, he was in East St. Louis, Illinois, playing semi-pro ball. but by the end of the year, he'd been picked up by the St. Louis Stars. Like most players during that period, Bell played a number of positions before he finally ended up in the outfield. James Bell got his nickname, and when he was a 19-year-old pitcher for the Stars, he was young, but he stayed composed and struck out Oscar Charleston. His teammates started calling him Cool. Bill Gatewood, the manager, added the Papa. What Cool Papa Bell lacked in power, he made up for speed. Fans loved it when he turned singles into doubles or sometimes triples. William Yancey, who played for a number of teams, including the Philadelphia Stars from 1923 to 1936, told this story about Bell. I haven't seen anybody yet could run with Cool. When I was on the Lincoln Giants, we played in a little park in New York called the Catholic Protectorate up in the Bronx. That was our regular home field. Judy Johnson had told him how fast Cool Papa Bell was. Yancey said, now I could throw, so I said nobody can outrun a baseball. So the first time Cool Papa came to New York with the St. Louis Stars, he hit a ball into right field. Chino Smith was out there, and he could field the ball. And if you made a wide turn at first base, he could throw you out trying to hustle back. I went out to get the throw, and when I looked up, Cool Papa was slowing up going into third. I said to myself, that son of a gun didn't touch second. Next time up, he hit another one about the same place. Nobody got a 3-base hit in that little park. I don't care where they hit the ball. And I watched this guy run. Well, he came across second base, and it looked like his feet weren't touching the ground. That's the great Cool Papa Bell. Stories like Yancey's are commonplace among players who saw Cool Papa Bell run. Although Bell spent 4 years playing in Mexico, where life was less restrictive, he still played long enough and well enough in the States to be inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame. Like Cool Papa Bell, Hall of Famer Martin DeHago was a legend in his own name too. Born in 1905, the Cuban superstar came to the United States hoping for a chance in the majors. In the early 1920s, several light-skinned Cubans had been signed with the National and American leagues. So African-American players watched with interest, hoping that if darker Cubans were accepted in the majors, then maybe they would be next. But once again, hopes were shattered. Neither Mendez nor DeHago, two of the best coming out of Cuba, got offers, simply because their skin color was too dark. DeHago spent part of his long and illustrious career playing in Cuba, part of the time in the United States with the New York Cubans made up of dark-skinned Caribbean players. During a career that lasted well over the age of 40, DeHago presented a triple threat every time he took the field. He could pitch, field, and bat, and all with lethal precision. And when he wasn't playing, he managed the team. He was a tough guy to beat. Remembered players like Page and Leonard, who played with and against him in several East and West All-Star games. DeHago could have played the best among them, said Satchel Paige. That's Martin DeHago. And that is the story of Black Diamond, the story of the Negro Baseball Leagues. And we just want to thank you for sitting there and listening to our show tonight. Again, tonight we are celebrating All-Star Weekend. And we are also celebrating your sons, your nephews, your nieces that were playing softball, all of the little kids that played Little League this past season. So big shouts out to y'all, mommy and daddy, uncle, grandma, auntie. They're proud of y'all. You know what I'm saying? And tonight is All-Star Weekend, or beginning of the week, I should say. All-Star games tomorrow. And that's going to be July 11th from T-Mobile Park. Make sure you check it out. This is Coffee Talk Podcast. I'm hitting you with the universal peace sign. And I'll see you next time here on Coffee Talk Podcast, the cultural variety podcast show. Make sure you leave a comment, hit the like button, share, and also make sure you subscribe. You can check us out on YouTube as well as Facebook Live. Until next time, peace.